You are watching Hot Springs Village Venues.
Hello, and we're back with Village Venues, and we're here with Cesar and David, and we are looking at the good folks at the CBD tasting room at the bottom of the hill and some of their wonderful products. And I had no idea, like I said earlier in the show, I intentionally have not asked these guys anything. I didn't want to know how it's done. I didn't want to know the details. I wanted you to tell me live on screen. So if I make another mistake like stream, then we'll be there again. So how many products? What are the prices? What do they do? I mean, it looks like you have a plethora here.
We do have a plethora of products. We have a product anywhere starting price about $4.95, and then we can go upwards of $100 depending on our rosin drops or how many day supply you like.
Well, and let me be just stupid here, but the price, is the price commensurate with the amount of effort it took to put in the product? I mean, some of them are harder to make than others. Is that right?
Obviously.
Yeah, it's really just how much CBD is in it. It's so if you're going to be buying a one-day item, like a brownie, or a month's supply, which would be a 1 ounce bottle of drops.
Wow. So, okay, I come in. What's the most common ailment? What's your bell curve of ailment?
I'd say sleep. Everybody wants better sleep.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And CBD. Really?
Oh yeah. You'd get some of the best sleep you've had in many, many years with just a little bit.
With a topical, with a edible, what do you do?
You pick your medicine how you want it. Some people
Really?
prefer the edible. Some people prefer the oils underneath the tongue, sublingual. Some people prefer the topical, salve. Helps them really ease into it or just relieve the pain topically for sure.
It is the number one most reported thing, and people that have insomnia could relate to this, but the issue isn't always getting to sleep, it's staying asleep.
Well, we sleep in typically 4-hour cycles. So you sleep and go through that first REM, and you go to bed at midnight, you wake up at 4 a.m. and go, what do I do now, right? So it basically helps you fall back to sleep at the end of that 4-hour cycle? Or?
I've heard some different strategies that some of our customers take.
Really?
Like I know one guy, both him and his daughter both having crippling insomnia.
And I apologize for interrupting, I really do, but define crippling. I mean, like it really affects their lives.
Like has affected their life for decades.
Decades? Really?
And I know that guy, he takes 2 droppers of the 500 milligram, and that's right around dinner time.
Okay, is that a significant dosage?
It'd be a normal dosage, a normal daily dosage.
So he's not overdoing it. He's
taking about 30 milligrams of CBD there.
Okay, through the 500 milligrams of the total product, he gets about 30 milligrams
Yes.
of the CBD. Okay.
And then he takes one of these brownies or cookies before he goes to bed. Right before he goes to bed.
Right. And how much is in those, just roughly?
There's going to be about 70 milligrams of CBD in that, and you're going to have it's full of these other cannabinoids as well. There's around 3 milligrams of THC in that. And so the full spectrum is what really does the trick. You're going to get a lot more effectiveness from a full spectrum product like that is made from our rosin.
Yeah.
That has the trace amounts of these other cannabinoids besides CBD.
Wow.
Compared to if you're taking a product that is just made with a CBD isolate, which is just that isolated molecule.
Right. There's a spike of activity, and that's all we're taking is that product.
It's called the entourage effect. And
really?
People can do your own research on that, but basically what it is all the cannabinoids working together, and you get more of an effect that way compared if you're just taking CBD.
Now, this is fascinating because, I've never been in your building. We're going to go shoot video to edit all this in, but the CBD tasting, when I hear that term, and particularly when I think about CBD, I think, okay, I think I have a pretty good understanding of what just the CBD oil does. Mm-hmm. But you're saying it's just a broad spectrum of the entire flower, basically, right?
Yes, there's 118 different cannabinoids that are present in the flower, and our type of extraction keeps a lot of those intact, even at the trace levels.
Really?
So with the federal regulations of THC, it's all based on 0.3% by a dry weight volume.
0.3%.
Yes, and so in our 1 ounce bottles there of tincture, legally I can get 90 milligrams of THC in there. Okay, and that's why we have that, our 2,000 milligram, that's the most CBD that we can put in it without crossing that threshold.
Right.
Because on the THC.
On the THC, yeah.
Which is what the guidelines are based on. Well, there's enough THC in there that putting that into a capsule form, we actually have a product we market as THC capsules.
Really? because it's
There's a significant amount in there, yeah.
Okay, so rosin caps THC. I got it. But now, okay, and this is back to where I'm being very confused. You guys are not a state-approved facility, right?
Yes.
You're not selling medical marijuana.
We're not selling medical marijuana. We're selling hemp products. Anything
They're completely
that's
different programs.
Completely different programs.
We're under the Department of Agriculture because this is a
I'm sorry, I realize, and I apologize. The better part of this show, my mouth has been hanging open. And to the public, I apologize. That's not usually what I do. But so really,
our products are carried in dispensaries.
Really?
And 150 other stores, convenience
So,
stores.
I was going to
across the
say, so
state.
you do sell them in other stores too?
Absolutely.
How did you set up a distributorship for all this? I mean, pardon the
number of
term,
different ways.
from Hot Springs Village, Arkansas, if you know what I mean, Arkansas,
Yeah.
Did you just go knocking on doors and say, hey, we've got this product, would you like to sell it? Or?
Look, what makes our product desirable to these stores is that it's distinctly Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay, Ouachita Farms. I grew up 15 minutes away from Lake Ouachita in the Ouachita Mountains, and we are all in on this state. And so once it gets to the stores, that's what people want. They want to know that they could go to the farm where it was grown and go see the processing center where it's made. We have an open invitation
Really?
to anybody that wants
yeah.
to come see our operations.
Yep, come out to the
So
farm.
in my mind, because I'm as a security guy, I was also involved in, people that wanted to make medical marijuana, they had to have everything under a camera, and they had to have fences, and they had to. Do you not have a high security at your facility? Or?
We do have surveillance. We have double perimeter fences for any big animals that are trying to get in our field. We do have security.
But they're not going to steal anything with THC because you don't grow it branded for THC. Is that correct?
That is correct. But you'd be amazed. There has been instances. We luckily did not have any theft this year in our field. We have heard of some farmers within Arkansas and other borders that had quite a bit of their field. Unfortunately, they got ripped off. But we were fortunate to have a great location. We have great security on staff. We have really good surveillance cameras out there, and we have some nice systems in place. And everybody that we brought out to the farm, obviously, we're not just going to bring anybody out to the farm.
Sure.
We want to make sure they're vetted, and we feel comfortable bringing them out and showing them our operations.
Yeah. Well, David, tell me more. You mentioned Crohn's disease. So, I mean, you're a believer and a testifier for a particular reason. Tell me more what Crohn's disease is.
It's a GI disorder that can affect any part of your entire intestinal tract.
Really?
And thankfully, mine is limited to my small intestine. And what that means is there's just one strategy that the doctors have to take to fight that inflammation. Where some people may be affected in different parts of their body, and they may have to take different strategies.
Really?
But basically, when I was diagnosed with that, I had to have a resection where they removed 4 foot of my small intestine.
And there's not that many feet. It's not like there's 40. They may have had 8 and started with 6 or 8 and came back to 2, right?
And I looked like a different person back then, okay?
Really?
I lost,
Completely.
this is around the time that I met my wife. We've been married over 10 years now. But I lost 60 pounds over the course of a year.
Wow.
Yes. And it's been
Not the weight loss program you had in mind.
It's not the one you want.
No.
Now, I had
you
lots
don't
of people
recommend it.
offer, some sort of trade, right, if that was physically possible. But
Well, so what is the CBD or the, I don't even want to call it CBD because that's what it primarily is, but it has so many other components to
it's
it.
cannabis.
It's cannabis.
It's cannabis. What really helps you? Is it the CBD or is it the full range of effects or what?
It's the full spectrum together. So when I first started really being able to replace my medications out in Colorado, it was with an oil that was made with high THC. But when I moved back here to Arkansas, we moved back in 2016.
Right.
I began taking basically the same formulation but made with high CBD.
Instead of high
cannabis.
THC.
Yes.
Well, that's the way you could get it, of
And
course.
saw the same exact effects. So some of these issues that just keep me from putting the weight back on, I'm able to maintain a steady weight
Right.
and also stay away from these drugs. I mean, my wife and I are both cancer survivors as well. Like, we both had childhood cancer, and that's what really scares me from taking some of these drugs that,
That the effects.
Yeah.
I didn't call them side effects.
they're going to fix
effects.
the Crohn's, but they're going to leave collateral damage with the rest of my body.
And you call it the entourage effect? Is that what you were calling it?
Yes, the entourage effect is what creates, the difference between a full spectrum product, because you're getting trace amounts of all these cannabinoids, CBC, CBN, CBG. Some of these that the research is just really opening up on.
Yeah.
But that's what makes the difference between a product that's made out of an isolate or
Right.
even a distillate.
Mm-hmm. To trying to purify it to a particular product versus taking the whole benefit of the entire flower.
Now we do carry one product that is made that is just CBD distillate, does not have any THC in it at all, and that is just for the customer that may be a truck driver that cannot fail a drug test.
No THC in the system whatsoever, or
Our number one question from customers is, will I pass a drug test? And since everybody processes this through their system differently,
Yeah.
and there's a number of factors involved,
half-life, absorption, weight.
we
Yeah.
tell everybody, if you're taking a full spectrum CBD product or you're using the CBD flower, we cannot guarantee that you're going to pass the test. Now, all of that is changing. Like
Sure.
we lived out in Colorado. They don't drug test the teachers in the school
Really?
systems for THC. And I think you've seen a court case recently where now if you have your medical marijuana card, you aren't going to lose your job for failing a test for THC.
Well, and having your card is a valuable point. I get what they're going at.
Right.
Let me tell you a funny story just very quickly. We were in Colorado 3 years ago, and I picked up my phone and I was like, I thought I would see these medical dispensaries everywhere, and I told Diane, we were in a quiet restaurant, and I said, where would it be? And she said, I don't know. I said, medical dispensary, medical marijuana dispensaries near me. And Google came back and said, the nearest medical dispensary is in
I'm sure they get that all the time there.
I'm like, turn it down.
Probably right next door.
Probably, actually, I had seen a deal on 60 Minutes, and we drove past, we're in the downtown area, we drove past, and on one side was the Denver police station, and on the other, across the street was a huge grow that it was obviously a grow because they had the huge ventilation fans and the greenhouse and whatever, and I was like, oh, I guess that's one way to kind of monitor your product, right?
It's the best location.
Well, Cesar, I wanted to ask you one last question here. Where do you see this going? And David, I want you to pitch in too, if you do.
Well, I think we see it continuously growing. We see more and more customers coming in for various ailments, and more people are asking the same questions, or they're spreading the word, and people are starting to realize what this product can really do for them.
Do you see a national change in the legislation?
I do believe so.
It
That's
looks like
coming.
it's loosening up. It looks like it's not so, of all the products, you would think we could at least study it, right? It could be declassified enough where we could at least study it. And that's kind of my beef, I guess, about it, is that
The DEA has released some of the guidelines or some of the restrictions associated with research even on the THC cannabis.
Really?
Yes, and they've updated their policy with federal law that now what we're growing and producing is federally legal. So the DEA has updated their stance on that.
Wow. This has actually been absolutely wonderful. I thank you so much.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'll shake your hand in just a second. It's truly been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us again on Village Venues. We'll have an episode again very shortly. We wanted to thank Cesar and David for joining us from Ouachita Farms in the CBD Tasting Room, and we encourage you to go by and visit with them. Thanks again for coming to see us at Village Venues.
Thank you for watching Hot Springs Village Venues. Please stay tuned and follow us on Facebook to see the next episode.